Rebounds tonight, as always, brought to you by Sinclair Oil, as American as it gets. BYU has been big off the bench, but they're coming in to relieve some pretty good ones as well, Blaine.
They've been a team that's had 8 different players lead them in scoring this year. A very balanced team. When one guy's down, somebody else steps it up. A solid team effort for them this season.
Lee Kamard solid across the board, and across the board you can see the 2 big men missing. Darren Brown is still injured. Joseph Taylor still suspended.
And so somebody's going to have to step it up for these Cowboys that's been a role player in the past. Let's take a look at the Dodge keys to the game, of course, brought to you by Dodge. First of all, for the visiting BYU Cougars, they've got to have post-production. They got to take advantage of the fact that Darren Brown is not in there defending, and that they don't have Joseph Taylor in there defending. And so Trent Playstead and Keena Young should be able to have an advantage down in the post. And then they've got to play great team defense on Wyoming's guards. Stop the penetration and rotate. For Wyoming, defensive boards for Steve McLean's crew. They cannot allow second chance buckets. And then who's going to be the big time role player? Who's going to step it up? With Taylor gone and Brown gone, is it going to be Eric Platt? Is it Dermody? Somebody's got to come up big for these Wyoming Cowboys.
Will it be one of those young pups laying down low on the post? Okoye, Sangando, Nelson combined, averaging less than 10 points, filling in for Taylor and Brown. It is Okoye who will tip this off with sophomore Trent Playstead, a freshman All-American, and right back to Ames. BYU controls the ball to start this one off in Laramie. Brandon Ewing getting a hand on it, but back into the hands of Balderson. Spencer with the quick hands, and Kamard recovers. Long 3 for Ames. It's off. Rebound to Ike Okoye.
Wyoming is a team that in this building really likes to push the basketball and play transition and get those easy points in transition. They're an athletic team that can run, and with Ewing and Jones on that guard line, boy, that's the motor that makes that fast break move.
Ewing drives to the hole, doing what he does best. He'll slice and dice his way down that lane. Fouled on the shot by Kamard. And Brandon Ewing, he's seen that charity stripe quite a bit this season. He'll head to the line and shoot 2.
And both of these guards, in Ewing and Jones, are guys that understand how to use their quickness and their ball handling to get into the paint and to draw fouls. Ewing against UNLV earlier this year went to the free throw line 22 times. He understands how to draw that foul.
His 116th try from the line is no good. Now Brad Jones steps out to pat him on the back. Jones and Ewing. When Steve McLean got back from that big-time loss to Air Force, he said that he saw both of their cars out in the parking lot working to shake it off, get better, and get ready for this one, and they've got a big one. Back-to-back, they play the #1 team in the conference. Air Force and BYU tied. Ewing hits the second half of this free throw try. Nice pass to Balderson. Kamard to Balderson, lays it in for 2. It's 2-1 BYU.
And just napping on the backside away from the ball, the weak side, the side opposite the ball. And the backside guard has to get down and defend down there. And Wyoming caught napping that time.
There's Spencer. He'll shoot it from about 16 feet out. Doesn't go. Pulling it down is Ewing, though. Fresh shot clock. Ewing tries to push it to Benny Sangando. Ball taken by Kamard. Again trying for Balderson, and Jones will take over this one.
Boy, nice hustle play by James Spencer.
No whistle and no bucket as it trickles out. Will stay right here. Look to be off the hands of Okoye. Austin Ames will argue just that. To no avail. Wyoming ball and a fresh shot clock.
Well, and a good job that time, I mentioned it, by James Spencer on the defensive end. BYU with a steal and a fast break. And they do, the other official, the back trail official, did see it go off of Okoye's hand and came in and overruled on the call and gave it back to BYU. But what looked to be a sure 2 points for BYU, stopped by James Spencer, who hustled back in transition defense.
Keena Young down low, left hand laying it in. It's Playstead that's the lefty. Keena Young, a right-handed post player, using the left one to lay it in there.
And that's where it's scary right now for Wyoming. They're very young down there, not a lot of experience in defending the post, and Keena Young is so quick and so offensive-minded down there. They are going to have to communicate well, and they're going to have to play some team defense down there to stop these post players for BYU.
Keena Young had 29 points against Wyoming in Provo. Brad Jones' shot is short. Rebound to Balderson. But it was a BYU team with a very cold start in Provo. Playstead missed his first 6 shots. Balderson into the lane. Rebound to Okoye, his second. BYU 2 of 4 from the floor to start the game. Wyoming 0 for 3. The 1 point coming from the charity stripe off the hands of the Mountain West Conference leading scorer, Brandon Ewing. There's Benny Sangando, little hook, too strong. Playstead with the rebound. Retry doesn't go. Offensive board to Keena Young. Spins, backs out, puts that one in there. That's 4 for Young.
And Keena Young shooting 53.6% from the field on the season has just been very, very solid. You get him inside of 10 feet, he just has beautiful touch, great rotation on the ball. He gets it up on the rim and it drops.
So much spring in the legs of this senior from Beaumont, Texas. Several times out jumping big Luke Neville, the 7'1" big man for Utah in the victory against the Utes. There's Spencer baseline laying it in.
And you hear a lot about Ewing and Jones, and as Kamar takes it down the other way, that's one thing you've got to know. If you've scouted BYU, and I guarantee you Steve McLean got this team ready for that transition game. BYU, it doesn't matter whether it's a steal, a rebound, or a made basket. They're going to push the basketball and try to get points, and you cannot lazily make your way back down the court defensively after a make.
Fade away to Spencer, kiss off the glass. There's 2 more.
And back to my point from the previous time down, you hear all about Ewing and Jones. And Spencer, what a great addition he's been to this guard line. It really is a 3-guard line. And Spencer, just a great pure shooter, has given them consistent scoring from the outside. When the other 2 are driving and dishing, he's the guy on the outside knocking down the shots.
Sangando fouls Trent Playstead. When we come back, TP will head to the line. Big 44 will shoot 2. There's Spencer, Ewing, Jones. Spencer sounds like a law firm, doesn't it? 8-5.
Of course, being top 16th in the country, and it was real difficult for us to play without our starters. And 4 starters, that's a big loss to our team, and we really struggled without those guys.
Well, Playstead shooting under 50% from the line. When James Spencer talks about those guys, the new guys like Ingles, Geis, Nelson, Platt, some new faces for Steve McLean.
Well,
had their hands full.
You wonder about confidence for those guys, because not only getting their first significant playing time, but against a very, very good team, a disciplined Air Force team, and their building is extremely tough. So that was baptism by fire in that one, and you hope that they came out of that with some confidence.
Playstead 0 for 2, his trip to the line, so it remains 8-5, 3-point lead for the visiting Cougars. 3-try for Spencer, drills it. That's 7 points for James Spencer.
Well, Spencer 3 for 4 from the field. He's the only guy that seems to be knocking it down for Wyoming right now, and he has become a go-to guy for them. Couldn't carry him on his own down in Clune Arena.
Playstead on Sangando. Playstead, nice looking shot, using that left hand and laying it in. Playstead is, of course, the lefty. I mentioned earlier, Keena Young doing it from the right hand. Well, James Spencer, 3 of 4 from the floor. The rest of the team 0 for 3. And he has 7 of Wyoming's 8 and the rock right now as he drives on Balderson, pulls away and hits another one. There's a quick 9 for James Spencer. Keeping the pokes in it. It's 10-10.
On BYU, we talked about them pushing the basketball after the make, and this time a little too aggressive. They throw it out in front of Trent Playstead, and it's the turnover and goes back to Wyoming. And Spencer single-handedly keeping his pokes in the game.
Well, for Dave Rose, we've told you all about the lopsided loss that these Pokes had down in Colorado Springs to the Falcons, number 15 team in the nation. But how about the lopsided win for the BYU Cougars, beating UNLV 90-63, a team that they were tied for first place in the Mountain West Conference with. Their 28th straight home win on Saturday. And the second consecutive home win over a ranked opponent. UNLV was 25th, and Jones 3 won't go. The putback, though, for Dermody.
Ryan Dermody, the 6'8" redshirt freshman out of Loveland, Colorado. And we talk about somebody that's a role player coming up big. He's the kind of guy, he's got the size that he can go in there and give them some minutes and try to make up for the loss of Joseph Taylor and Darren Brown.
Dermody working hard, trying to deny Playstead underneath, and getting the ball to Playstead is Rose. Mike Rose into the game. He hit 8 threes as Ainge misses that 3. 8 threes against UNLV, tying his own school record. And the Pokes will work the ball around. Long 3 for Ewing. It won't go. Kamard comes up with it. Ainge has also been big behind the arc in Mountain West Conference play, shooting 50%, 34 of 68 on the season. 57.1.
Boy, and that's going to be tough for Wyoming to answer. You just have to stay in front of him, and when he puts the ball on the floor, they're going to have to get some help. He gets that inside of 5 or 6 feet like that. He's very, very dangerous.
Here's Spencer.
Oh, boy, he's just lighting it up. And he is playing, this is a great matchup to watch. Lee Kamard, who's been a great defender, shut down some of the good scorers in this league during the course of the season. Long arm, 6'6", and Spencer has had no problem shooting it over the top of Kamard in this one.
Oh, another pretty shot the other end for Trent Playstead. So we mentioned earlier, he started the game against Wyoming in Provo as cold as can be, missing his first 6 shots. And here today, he's 3 of 3. Spencer on the other end, 5 of 6. Austin Angel help Kamard. Jumper. Hits it.
Boy, he is just in the zone. He's shaking his head as he walks down the court, jogs back down, and Dave Rose says, okay, I've seen enough of that. Timeout. They want to put Spencer on the bench to see how he's feeling it coming down. Boy, as a player, you don't get that feeling very often where you just feel like, man, I could just shoot up anything right now and it's going to go in. And everything he's shooting up is hitting the absolute bottom of the net.
As they strolled over to the bench to sit down with Coach McLean, something that was the most excited Poke in the building was Brandon Ewing. He came over to the 6-man club, pumping his fist, getting them fired up. Sure, he's excited to be back out there contributing. Not so much on the scoreboard as of yet. It's been all James Spencer for Wyoming. Well, Mike Rose had a big day on Saturday. Burgess checks into the game for BYU now, too. Playstead working down low on Dermody. There's Murdoch. And Young, 15-footer. He hits it. Keena Young keeps on coming on the other end.
Well, and BYU taking advantage of what we thought they would. We knew that they would go into the post and try to get scoring there, and that's where it's come for them. Trent Playstead, Keena Young, solid in this game so far. Keena Young, 3 for 3. Trent Playstead, 3 for 3.
Well, Burgess got Spencer on the arm as he tried to drive baseline. Spencer for hire. He's hot today. 13 of the... Playing a little Johnny Cash Ring of Fire here in the AA. 2 teams that are on fire, shooting the ball. We'll tip off your weekend every Friday night with the Mountain View. It's all the news and newsmakers from around the conference with reports on your favorite teams and previews of the weekend's big games. The Mountain View, presented by Dodge, Friday at 7, right here on the Mountain.
Boy, James, you know, this has been a slower pace than I expected. And I don't know if that's Steve McLean's game plan with the big guys missing to kind of milk the clock a little bit, but both teams shooting it very well. Look at this, 8 of 12 for BYU, 7 of 13 for Wyoming. That is getting it done. And BYU continues to shoot well, 67% that is for BYU.
12 of the Cougars' points coming from the paint, and Brad Jones can't get it to fall. So Jones and Ewing from the floor haven't connected. Ewing has 1 from the line, fouled as he goes up as Playstead. Foul going to 32. That's Travis Nelson into the game. Had his first career start against the Air Force Falcons on Saturday. The tallest guy on the team at 6'11".
Well, and Travis Nelson is a guy you see him defending here. That he's a redshirt freshman. He's developing. He's got a great big frame. And he's, you know, he's going to get quicker and he's going to get stronger. And they didn't expect that he'd have to play a lot of significant minutes this year. But he's having to play a lot right now without Taylor in the ball game and with Darren Brown with that ankle problem. We saw Darren Brown had a boot on that ankle before the game. And they're hoping that they might get him back for UNLV on Saturday, but that was a pretty significant sprain to that ankle for Darren Brown.
And they're calling it not a high ankle sprain. Usually when you see the prolonged absence and it's so long to recover from it, it's the high ankle, but not the case with DB. Nice turnaround jumper by the man, Travis Nelson, who had the foul down at the other end.
Well, and they say Nelson has good range. He has nice touch on the basketball. And you know, he comes from a winning program. His high school team was ranked in the top 25 in the country.
Rose's three try is long. Eric Platt's going to come up with this one. Behind the back for the 2006 Gatorade Player of the Year. Fouled as he goes to the hole is Brad Jones.
Well, and down on the offensive end for BYU, Trent Playstead had a rebound 4 feet from the basket. He was a little too unselfish. He tried to pass it to the weak side to Keena Young. When you're 6'11" and can jump out of the gym and you catch the ball 4 feet from the basket, you just take it right back up. And Wyoming took advantage of that turnover, pushed the ball up the court. Brad Jones, he's going to outrun everybody up the court and pick up the free throws.
So the first point of the night for the Mountain West Conference, fourth leading scorer, Brad Jones, and the junior out of Mark Tree, Arkansas.
And both of these guys, Ewing and Jones, they're great penetrators. They do give the basketball up. They penetrate and dish, and they do a great job with their assist line in every game as well. And they'll both go down and rebound the basketball as well.
Luke Ivanovic into the game for BYU, fighting hard to push the ball away is Dermody. Ball remains for Dave Rose's BYU Cougars, 24 seconds to shoot. So Burgess, Ivanovic, Murdoch, Keena Young, and Mike Rose. Young, only player on the floor for the Cougars that started the game. He's got the ball, works on Dermody, right over the top of him.
Keena Young, a perfect 4 for 4 in the ball game now for Keena Young. Playstead is 3 for 3.
Playstead on the bench, no fouls for Playstead, who has found himself in foul trouble a few times this season. Most notably in the big matchup we were looking forward to, Luke Neville and Trent Playstead. They were hardly ever on the floor at the same time. Spencer Strong to the hole, taking down bodies and putting down the points. That's Keena Young who ends up underneath them. No whistle there. 2 points for Wyoming and a 3-point lead with 8:55 to go.
Boy, and 15 points now for Spencer on 7 of 8 from the floor.
Jones and Ewing a combined 0 of 5 from the field. Here's Ewing on Mike Rose. Brad Jones hits the floor hard. They wanted a charge. 2 points the other way. Murdoch.
Well, and you see Spencer is the offense for Wyoming so far in this basketball game. He's been just solid.
There's Jones, drives lane.
When we talk about that quickness off the dribble, he just blew right by Murdoch on that one. And when he breaks the defense down, your big guys have to step up and help in a hurry and cut off those driving lanes.
Knocks that ball away back into the hands of Murdoch, and a travel. Turnover, Ben Murdoch walked with it. Spencer's averaging 11.6 box score to break down the games and teams in the Mountain West with all the stats to back it up. It's a numbers game, Wednesday at 6 and 9:30, right here on the Mountain. Got the beer song going. Oh, Laramie, I love you. Love coming up to the AA.
One beautiful drive you and I had up today. Just a gorgeous, sunshiny day.
Well, nice sunset. Had it at the top. Ewing for 3. It won't go.
Well, and it has not been a three-point exhibition by either team in this one.
There's a man that can shoot the 3, young Jonathan Tavanari, but he's off there on a 2-point try. Rebound to Eric Platt over in the corner. From the elbow, Brad Jones. He gets 2 more. Glad to have you with us here on the high plains of Laramie, Wyoming. 7,220 feet for you on the mountain. James Bates, Blaine Fowler, and the entire mountain crew, including our director, Mike Rock Chalk J. Hawk Helen.
Boy, solid defense again by Travis Nelson, the 6'11" redshirt freshman down in the paint, doing a nice job down there. That time defending against Vuk Ivanovic.
Oh, come on now.
I got it.
No, you didn't.
Well, I got it.
Vuk Ivanovic.
Gosh.
That's all right. That's all right.
I should know that one by now.
Certainly should.
Vuk Ivanovic. Travel.
Travel on Jones.
Wyoming now 1 for 5 from three-point line, and BYU 0 for 4. This has not been a shooting exhibition from outside. Here we go. Take a look at Nelson down in the paint. Getting a lot of playing time here, gets a piece, does a great job of just staying there and going straight up.
4 turnovers for BYU. Still a handful of bench players in there for the Cougars. Team that scored 41 points off the bench against UNLV. And there's 2 for Kamard. Kamard now has scored. His last 10 shots have been good, and that is a span of over 4 games now. Lee Kamard doing it both ends of the floor to Austin Ainge. Nice easy trip to the lane, and it won't go. Knocked away into the hands of Eric Platt for Wyoming with a 3-point lead in the ball.
Well, and Ike Okoye worked hard without the basketball. He had a spot down right in the middle of the paint, right below the basket. When you're defending away from the ball, you have got to force that guy out. Perfect spot for Okoye.
Under 6 minutes to go here in the AA. Jones has 6, make it 8.
That's where he's at his best. With off the bounce, he can just blow right by you and get to the glass and put it up.
Playstead on Sangando. Back out a 3 try, won't go. No whistle. Kamard backs up behind the 3-point line, and then he gets it in. And a layup miss by Burgess. Rebound to Playstead. Bodies on the floor. All kinds of craziness under the hoop. Hope fans want a foul.
Well, and Brad Burgess. Jones just shaking his head saying, man, there was a lot of contact all over the floor that time, and then finally it gets called on me. But she Playstead going up, and Brad Jones did. I don't think Brad, when he was shaking his head, was questioning that he fouled Playstead. He just wanted a couple fouls earlier than that.
One of 5 from the line for Playstead. Coach Steve McLean and Dave Rose, very close friends. Not right now while they're getting after it. Their teams on the hardwood. Wyoming with the 5-point lead as Playstead misses on both tries. 1 of 6 in this game. Ewing thinks about it, then gets it over to Spencer. Haven't heard from him in a while. There's Kamard on him. Spencer and Jones now combined 23 points. The rest of the team, 5. Ball knocked away by Kamard.
Well, and that's where Kamard's so good. When you get out on the perimeter, you think you have the room to get that shot off, but he's got good quickness. He gets off the ground in a hurry, and then he has those long, long arms on that 6'6" frame.
Kamard 5th in the conference in steals, averaging 1.65 a game.
And he's done a great job and some great scores. I mean, he shut Brandon Heath down in their San Diego State game, and that is a difficult task. And a reach that time by Austin Ainge. And you know, it started out as the Spencer show for Wyoming, and then this last couple of minutes it's been the Jones show. He's taken over. Spencer 7 of 9 from the field for 15 points, and Jones now with 8 points on 3 of 6.
Cougars holding their breath, hoping that Ewing doesn't heat up. The leading scorer in the Mountain West Conference. There's the 4th leading scorer, and he's long on his 3 try. Jones doesn't connect. Rebound to Austin Ainge. Out to Mike Rose from the corner. Uh-oh. Hit 8 against UNLV. There's his first 3 tonight. That's his first 3 points of the game. Ewing's ball knocked away by Kamard. Ike Okoye picks it up, puts it back up. Out of bounds on Wyoming. BYU ball, trailing by 2.
Well, and I love the scrap under the basket by both teams in this one. Every time there's a rebound, it's hotly contested by both teams. Guys are hustling to loose balls.
The Cougars hit 15 threes, a school record against UNLV on Saturday. They're 1 of 6. That 3 by Mike Rose, the first of the night. Playstead goes strong, knocked away by Okoye. There's a young guy getting some good confidence, tipping away the ball. The other strong sophomore in the league, Trent Playstead. And a charge on Spencer, too strong to the hole.
Boy, and Spencer looked like he banged his knee a little bit on that, and he grimaces. And watch Austin Ains as he takes it, dishes, and the three-pointer from Mike Rose.
Things are rocking for Dave Rose and Steve McLean, 2 ball coaches that aren't really used to this pace.
Yeah, this has been a real slowdown. Both of these teams score in the mid-70s, and I'm wondering if by design Steve McLean's tried to slow this thing down a little bit. And because he's a little short-handed, doesn't have quite as much depth, maybe you slow it down, shorten the game a little bit, and stay in it. And so far, that's been the case for Wyoming. They not only have stayed in it, they've stayed ahead in this one.
Playstead called for his first foul over the back. Folks will try to add to a 2-point lead. Spencer Ewing-Jones up top, Sangando, and Ike Okoye underneath. That's Okoye with the ball working on Young. Trickles his way right along the baseline for an easy layup past Keena Young.
Great job of keeping his pivot foot nailed to the floor and being very patient offensively.
Ball going the other way as Playstead walks with it. Well, prior to that Okoye bucket, Jones and Spencer were the only 2 to score since the 12:44 mark for Wyoming. A 4-point lead for Wyoming as we go under 3 minutes here in the first half. Spencer underneath on Kamard. He gets the rock. Shot clock at 10 as Jones takes it back out on top. Playstead there for him. Pocket almost picked, and it is by Ains there to save it. Ewing, and he gets a shot off, if you want to call it that. It's hit. Shot clock violation. Ball to BYU.
But I still love the effort. I love guys on the floor and battling for the ball from both teams. And Steve McLean got a smile on his face after that one. Well, he's got to like where his team sits right now. Their game plan has worked well here in this first half.
There's Keena Young. Wow. Keena Young now 5 of 5 from the field. 10 points for him tonight.
And if he gets the ball in a good spot and then you let him put it on the floor and don't give help, if you don't give help, he's just going to shoot it right over the top. He's done that on several occasions.
Offensive foul called against Brad Jones. His second.
Take a look at Keena. He gets it. Now you got to give him some help here. He puts that ball on the floor and starts spinning, every which way. He can go to his left and go to his right. You get him inside of 5 feet, you're not going to block it, and he's going to make it right over the top of you.
Had a double-double in Provo against Wyoming. He's got the double-digit points with 10 off the side of the backboard on that one.
Defended well by Okoye that time.
His first missed shot of the night. He has 1 rebound to go along with his 10 points. There's Spencer. Rose on him. Jones thought about the 3. Benny Sangando. Ewing 3 try. It won't go. And a foul on Brandon Ewing. So Brandon Ewing now 0 for 5 from the floor. He's got 1 from the free throw line. Called for his first foul there.
Well, in a loose ball situation on a long rebound, just going for the basketball, and Kamard had better position, so on the collision they had to make some kind of call, and it goes against Ewing, but he was hustling out there.
Mike Rose, NBA type three, and he hits it, the nephew of Coach Dave Rose, his second three of the night.
Boy, and when he starts feeling it, and you saw him make the last one, the distance is no object. It's like, okay, if I catch it and I'm in the half court, if I'm over half court, I'm in range. I'm fine.
I saw you talking to him before the game. What did he say about his threes against UNLV?
The other game, I said, well, you know, you were knocking down everything in sight. When did you know it was going to be that kind of night, that you might make, you know, he made 8 of 10 from three-point line. He goes, well, after the fourth make, I kind of felt like I could throw up anything and it would go in, and it did.
Jones ties it up. Well, mic'd up with Coach Joe Legursky, the Wyoming women's coach, and stats and highlights from this one. We'll bring it right back to Provo. We should have one heck of a second half. Don't go anywhere for the halftime festivities, and then 20 more minutes. BYU and Wyoming. BYU picked to finish second in the Mountain West Conference in preseason, tied with Air Force for first place. Air Force on the road at San Diego State tonight. Young back down underneath. He's fouled on the floor. We've had 10 lead changes already in this one. That foul called on James Spencer, and that's his first. 15 points for the junior, James Spencer, out of Tarzana, California. Young's first trip to the line, something you don't see very often. Keena Young steps up and misses one. Fourth in the Mountain West Conference, coming in at 84.7 from the stripe. He misses a big one there. Wyoming keeps the lead. They've got the ball. Ewing looks to hold for the final shot of the first half. So we're down under 15 seconds now. Ewing still scoreless from the field. Spencer shot well short. Okoye with the offensive rebound and the putback as time runs out. 34-31. The Pokes will take it to the halftime locker room. A 3-point lead over Dave Rose's BYU Cougars. Hardest working, smoothest riding. It's been a hard-working bunch of Pokes and a smooth-riding bunch of Pokes. Riding to a first half lead, 34-31 as we start the second half. This is only the 5th time BYU has trailed at the half this season. 1 of 3, the record so far when trailing. Only win over Seton Hall. Let's revisit our keys to the game.
We talked about BYU getting post-production. They have done that. Keena Young and Trent Place have been solid, but they've got to convert on those free throws. That number should be in the mid-20s for them. Team D on the Wyoming guards. They've done okay on Ewing and Jones, but it's Spencer who's played great. 11 points out of that backcourt for Wyoming. And then for Wyoming, they're getting it done on the defensive boards. Okoye and those guys doing a great job. And you saw the 7 rebounds out of Okoye. He's the role player that stepped it up for Wyoming in that first half.
7 of the 18 rebounds for the Wyoming Cowboys. Out rebounding BYU by 6. Songando at the elbow with the ball. There's Brad Jones who draws aim. Drives to the hoop, tries to get it underneath the Ike Okoye. Ewing picks it up, 3 on the shot clock. And on the arm, Keena Young gets Ike Okoye called for the first foul of the second half.
When that shot clock was winding down, Ewing threw it down into the post. And all Young needed to do was step to the baseline and play position defense. Instead, he reached and picks up the foul.
Nice feed to Okoye. There's 2 more. Making sure it counts. Two-handed stuff.
All right, and the 2 big guys helping each other out. Songando at the high post and Okoye at the low post. A nice high-low play, a lob over the top.
Ike Okoye now with 6 points. Kamard is fouled as he goes up by James Spencer. Second foul of the night for James Spencer.
When Kamard found that soft spot on the backside that time, and Spencer had lost track of where he was. By the time he recovered, too late, grabbed him on the wrist, and Kamard will shoot two. BYU, as we've documented, has been miserable from the free throw line so far in this basketball game.
Coming in, 66.7, that's 8th in the Mountain West Conference. Kamard hits both of his at the line, though.
And Kamard's a solid free throw shooter. He's at 81% on the season. He's a guy you want to have on that line.
BYU Cougars kind of like playing on the Mountain West Sports Network. 9-2 on the Mountain this season. Trying to go into double digits on the first network ever created solely for an athletic conference, the Mountain West Conference. We've had a lot of great action in football this season, and right on to basketball. Austin Ames travels as he pushes that one down. So a 3-point Wyoming lead with the ball. 18:31 to go here in the second half. Brandon Ewing. He and Brad Jones had their cars here at the double-A. Foul as he goes up. Sangando with 2 and a chance to make it 3 as he'll head to the line.
In the ball rotation, Trent Plaisted so conscious of the outside and stepping out and trying to redirect those guards that he loses track that time of the big guy inside. So Sangando with a chance to complete the 3-point play here. 1 free throw coming.
And he does. Nice from the line. There's 3 for Benny Sangando. Lead is 6 now for YO. There's Keena Young with the ball. Had a big first half. 10 to lead all Cougars, and Plaisted back into the game. Down to Young. We'll work on Okoye. Gets him to leave his feet. Fouled. He wanted a 3-point play. Won't get it to go, but he will get 2 at the line. This is the Cowboys' largest lead of the game. 6 points.
Boy, Keena Young working down that post, gives that pump fake and then jumps a little forward, draws the foul. Nice job, can't finish. Young was 0 for 1. He missed the front end of a 1-and-1 in that first half, but he's been a solid free throw shooter, one of the best in the league at 84.7% coming into this one.
He hits that one, Okoye. And on that low block, shaking his head. And Keena Young hits them both.
Well, in Wyoming, it stays in that game plan that we saw in the first half. They're going to walk the ball up the floor, get into their half-court game, work the basketball, make BYU play defense. They've had a number of times they've gone right down to the bottom of the shot clock in this basketball game.
Okoye down low on Plaisted, too strong. Sangando over the back of Lee Kamard. He'll be called for the foul.
Well, and a perfect example that time of how to play position and rebound the basketball. Kamard had inside position. He's on a guy that's much bigger than he is. But if you play position basketball and get in front and box out, you'll either get the rebound or you'll get a call.
Well, Lee at only 6'6", working down low, still 14th in the Mountain West Conference, averaging 5.7 rebounds a game. Balderson thought about it, gets it in to Keena Young. Back down to Young from Kamard. Fade away, too strong. Plaisted tries to keep it alive. Knocks it out of bounds. Or out of bounds on Wyoming, they're calling it. So ball will stay with Wyoming. They reset the shot clock.
And what Wyoming's done defensively in this game, they're playing a lot of one-on-one. They're not coming to help real quick, especially not coming off the guards on the outside for BYU. They've marked those shooters out there, and they're basically saying, okay, we know we're going to give up some points inside, but we're not going to give up the big baskets on the outside and let BYU knock down a bevy of threes like they did against UNLV.
Well, Plaisted and Sangando tangled up underneath so much that Plaisted can't get to the ball. Out of bounds, turnover BYU. Dave Rose talks it over a little bit. Well, for Brandon Ewing, look at the last 2 games, including this one, and of course the New Mexico game that he played in, which was all kinds of ugly. The big fight, the suspensions coming out of it for both Ewing and Jones and Joseph Taylor, who is still suspended. Spencer long 3 try. It's too strong. Okoye fights, gets another rebound. How about the sophomore working hard? on Trent Playstead underneath, but Brandon Ewing against New Mexico, he was only 2 of 12 for 4 points, 0 of 5 today, 1 point, and the 3-try won't go. Rebound to Jones, though. New shot clock. Combined 2 of 17, 5 points for the Mountain West Conference leading scorer. Talk about a cold streak. Jones 3-try, no good. Rebound to Playstead. Keena Young, other end, he's fouled and it goes. Chance for 3 as he'll head to the line.
Boy, I love the way BYU's big guys run the floor. Both Keena Young and Trent Playstead, they release and they know how to hustle down the floor. Look at beating everybody down the floor is Keena Young. Good body control as he draws the foul from Sangando, and now he has a chance to make the 3-point play.
That's 3 fouls on Benny Sangando. Travis Nelson checks back into the ball game. 14 points now for Keena to try to make it 15, and he does just that.
And the 2 big guys, Okoye and Sangando, go to the bench for Wyoming. I'll tell you what, Steve McLean has gotten some good minutes out of those 2 big guys in this ball game.
Last time we saw Wyoming here at the AA, it was a last-second lay-in. Jacob Birchie and the Air Force Falcons. 15th ranked now, 13th at the time, to beat Wyoming. 3-try for Spencer. There's 3, his first points of the second half.
Well, and he is the guy for Wyoming that has consistently shot the ball. And if you're BYU, you got to find him and not leave him on that perimeter. He's 8 of 12 now from the field. 18 points for Spencer in this ball game.
Kamard wants to get it to Playstead. There he is working on Nelson across the line. Little hook in and out rebound to Wyoming out of the hands of Dermody. And Keena Young picks up the trash and puts it right back in. That's 17 now for Young.
Well, and Young is 7 of 9 from the field. He's having a solid game. It seems like it's a different guy for BYU every time they play. Somebody picks it up and has a big game.
2 points to lead now for Wyoming. Spencer in the corner, back to Ewing, back over to Jones. Oh, slicing it, dicing it, putting it in, acrobatic. 2 points for Brad Jones.
Boy, what a move by Brad Jones. Jones is just 6 feet tall, and he is not 10.
It's Big O tires, and it's Big O, Big Okoye with your Big O slam dunk of the game.
Well, and points out of him in this game are a bonus. Those 8 rebounds are what they needed out of him. He's doing a great job on both ends of the floor rebounding the basketball.
Young back underneath, just adding to the high for the Cougars, and now that's a game high. 19 points for Young. James Spencer has 18 for Wyoming.
BYU going to mix it up this time. They come with a zone defense.
Spencer 3-try. Look at him go. 21 points now for James Spencer.
And the problem with the zone is you rotate the ball quick enough, that backside of the zone, that guard's got to stay out. Can't go and put a foot in that paint. You better stay out on Spencer. It's a career high. 22 points now for James Spencer.
Murdoch into the game. Kamard. Burgess back in as well. Some fresh bodies out there for the Cougars as we near the 13-minute mark. Murdoch, nice little stroke. Boy, was that sweet.
When it was exactly in front of us, you could see the line the whole way. That was a moonshot to get it over the shot blocker, and it hit the bottom of the net. An illegal screen that time called on Travis Nelson. He came over, and what you want to do is you want to be a couple of steps off the defender and set yourself. If you run and run right into the defender, you're going to get that called. And Nelson came, he was moving, and it was a moving screen. Take a look as he comes over. See, he actually puts the block on the defender, and they'll get that out front every time.
A turnover Wyoming didn't need. leading by 3. And a foul coming up to the Cowboys now. Dermody called with the foul. That's his first. Ryan Dermody, the transfer from CU down the Front Range in Boulder. There's Burgess back underneath the Young. Keena Young can't get it to fall, but he gets the rebound. Back out to Burgess, in and out of the hands. Rose ends up with it and misses the shot. Foul coming up to BYU. Wyoming ball. Wow, bodies bumping down in the paint. And Keena Young, he likes playing against these Wyoming Cowboys. He had 29 points, 10 rebounds against Wyoming back in Provo. Had a double-double in Laramie last year, too. He'll take a seat on the bench next to Austin Age. So now you've got Burgess, Rose, Playstead, Tavernari in the game, and Ben Murdoch.
But Mike Rose called for the foul. He shot the 3, followed his shot, and ended up coming up with a foul on the rebound.
Floater for Jones, too strong. Rebound to BYU. That's Murdoch with the ball. He'll push it to Rose. He's hit 2 already. There's 3. 3 threes for Mike Rose. All 3 for BYU. 10 attempts on the night.
Well, Steve McLean told us as he was going out at halftime that they could not lose track of where number 2 was. That they had to find Rose, the shooter on the outside, because they know that he can get points in a hurry. That time they lost track of him in transition.
We're tied up again. Dermody tries to go baseline on Playstead, but it's Trent Playstead called for the foul. Will the team 0 of 5 beyond the arc? Mike Rose, who hit 8 against UNLV, 3 of 5, and we're tied at 47. SU in Utah tomorrow at 7, right here on the mountain. Well, they're having some fun in the 6-man club up there. I'll tell you, a little disappointed in the 6-man club. A couple of them involved in the halftime shootout. Didn't look very strong.
Yeah, they didn't represent. They had to go full court and make a layup. We saw too many missed layups out of 6-man club in this one.
Too much bucking mechanical bull at the Cowboy Saloon down the street. Maybe 3-point shooting. There it is for tonight for BYU. Big on Saturday. Playstead, who's been dunk happy lately, tries to put that one in, but it won't fall. He's fouled instead and will head to the line. Sangando called for the foul.
Well, a good job that time by Rose. Good recognition. He knows now they're running at him on the perimeter. He's made some 3s, and so he took the ball to the basket, penetrate, draw the defense, and kicked it to Playstead.
This copyrighted telecast of the Mountain West Conference is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any retransmission, reproduction, rebroadcast, or other use or dissemination of this telecast with the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Mountain West Conference is prohibited. Trent Playstead, good trip to the line that time, and BYU up by 2 points. 11 minutes to go here in Laramie. The first lead for the Cougars since the 1-minute mark in the first half. And Brandon Ewing, who scored the first point of the game, hadn't scored since then. And there's 2, his first 2 from the floor. Playstead, nice move, gets his own rebound. Right back up and right back in. That's 2 more for the sophomore.
Well, and that shot on the other end for Ewing was a tough shot right in the middle of a double team. He shot over the top. And then Wyoming again, not back. BYU will push the ball after a make. You have got to run back after a made basket and play defense.
Spencer lost the handle on it. Ewing hits the floor off the 3 try, misses it big time.
Well, and look at the smile on Brandon Ewing's face. He had a little acting job as he fell down. He got up. He smiled about it.
He wasn't smiling on Sunday night. Huge Chicago Bears fan. Rex Grossman and those Bears took a big hit to the Colts in the Super Bowl. He's happy to be back out on the floor, though. So is Mike Rose. That's 4. He's got all 4 of the Cougars' 3s tonight.
Well, and Ewing recognized Mike Rose coming off the screen, but it was too late. He tried to sprint out. It was too late. Rose is a very good catch-and-shoot 3-point shooter. Does not have to put the ball on the ground, and he caught that one and got it off before Ewing could close.
4 threes on 6 attempts for Mike Rose. BYU on top by 5.
Ode to the Subway fresh toasted Italian beef.
Beautiful move by Brad Jones.
His road dog, Brandon Ewing, just hit his first bucket of the game. He's had at least 1 field goal in every game of his career, except his first game as a Poke. Foul coming up.
Sam Burgess hand checking, had both hands on the defender. Immediately the whistle's blowing, hand check. They'll let you put a forearm on a guy and maybe even occasionally hand. You get 2 hands out extended, that's a call immediately.
Nelson hard underneath on Tamanari. There's 2 more for Travis Nelson.
Nice right hand, a little hook there, good touch. Boy, we see some good touch out of Nelson down low. And then Ewing with another hustle play.
Trying to chip into this lead of 3 by BYU and the 11-4 BYU run. They've come charging back into it. Rose on Jones called for the foul.
Well, and during that 11-2 run, the outside shots by Rose, this crowd kind of got out of it. They got real quiet. We felt like we were in the gym here watching a scrimmage. That little jump hook by Nelson and then the hustle play by Brandon Ewing brought this crowd back in it. A little more vocal now.
Felt like you were over at the Half Acre, the old gym, right?
Well, we walked through the Half Acre on our way into the AA. Some great games in the past played there. That's where they play a little rat ball now.
Still some great games. My man Jeremy plays some moon ball there. Stats guy always taking care of us every trip we take here to Laramie. Spencer 3-try. It's short rebound. Burgess dives for it and gets it out to Mike Rose. Body's on the floor. Ball is out of bounds, and it'll stay with the post.
And the play by Brad Jones. Watch Brad Jones, number 1. I mean, he is on the floor, diving, trying to break this thing up. Spencer on the floor. And that one goes back to Wyoming. But hustle play by Brad Jones to get that ball to come loose. And then Ewing dribbles. Yeah, he dribbled the basketball on the end line. After all that hustle, he dribbles it on the line, and it goes back to BYU.
Lucky for BYU because it was an easy road.
Take a look. Right there, he steps on the line. Great shot. The official right there as he stepped on that end line.
There's Murdoch. 17-footer Young. It won't go. Offensive rebound. And right back in and 1. The senior will head to the line. 21 points on the night. Tied for a game high with Spencer of Wyoming, looking to make it 22.
Well, and Keena Young comes up with that offensive board, but it was Trent Playstead who kept the ball active, tipped the ball off the glass. Keena Young was the beneficiary of that.
Strong, but rebound to Lee Kamar. BYU 5-point lead. Trent Playstead down low on Nelson. Turn around and in. Hits the roll.
Well, and that little left-hand jump hook that he is above the rim. That ball is going absolutely flat at the basket because he's letting it go from about 6 inches above the rim.
The miss by Young at the line. The first free throw miss in the second half for BYU. And Playstead called for the foul, and he can't believe it. Thought he had all leather. So the San Antonio Texan, Trent Playstead, that little left-handed hook has got BYU on top big. Last Saturday against Air Force. And his first career Sonic rejection of the game tonight against BYU. Another first-place team in the Mountain West Conference. So the Pokes draw Air Force at the Clune, BYU here tonight in Laramie. Then their next game this weekend, they go to UNLV. At the midway point, the 3 teams that were tied for first place. UNLV, of course, losing to BYU 90-63 on Saturday. They're now in second place.
Well, and what a tough stretch. And you'd want to have a full deck with you when you're taking on those 3 opponents. And well, they were without 4 starters at that game down in Clune. and then still down 2 for this one. We'll have to see about UNLV this weekend if they can get Darren Brown back in uniform.
I feel Coach Steve McLean's pain. I'd love to have a broadcast partner with a full deck. So 4 points the lead for BYU with the rock. Under 7:30 to go. There's that scoring run, 15-6. In the last 5:40, they'll try to add to it. Nice feed to Young, even nicer to Malaman. He's fouled by Brad Jones as he tries to take it to the hole.
A nice read by Keena Young that time. He put the ball on the floor, felt the double team coming, and Malaman, as his man left, made a cut for the basket. Keena Young with a beautiful pass.
So the Brazilian will step to the line. BYU 1 of 7 in the first half from the free throw line, 7 of 8. I think that's 7 of 9 from the stripe.
Malaman is a guy that is a very solid free throw shooter, 87%, and that one wasn't even close.
And there's a favorable schedule coming up here for Dave Rose. Would love to start it off with a win in Laramie tonight. They're up by 5 as we near 7 minutes.
And 2 missed free throws by the 87% Fernando Malaman.
Nice move, Jones. Good job, Murdoch, to stay with him, but he does foul him. So Brad Jones will go to the line. Jones with 14 points. Will shoot 2.
Well, that's a tough matchup for Murdoch. Wyoming cleared that side of the floor for him so that he could go one-on-one and not have any help down low from a big guy. Well, that's a tough assignment for anybody.
The 14 points, 4 of 4, or check it, 6 of 6 from the stripe for Jones. Hits his first 7 of 7.
Jones is a solid free throw shooter all season long, and that's what makes him so effective with that penetrating game.
The Dome of Doom, the Arena Auditorium here on the campus of the University of Wyoming in Laramie. James Bates, Lane Fowler, our entire mountain crew, glad to have you with us here tonight. We've got a good one. BYU and Wyoming. It's been Wyoming with the lead for the most part tonight, but BYU came charging back in the second half. Wyoming not going anywhere, trailing by 3, under 7 minutes to go now. Denied. Ewing back into the hands of Kamar. We've seen that several times tonight. Ewing talking to himself and popping there on Kamar. 15 on the shot clock, underneath the playstand. Travis Nelson hits him, gets a piece of the arm as well as the ball.
All right, BYU patiently working the ball around until they could get a good post feed. And it looked like the foul actually came afterwards. He caught Trent Plaisted across the face, across the forehead that time. I like what Plaisted did with it. Leave no doubt. You go up and you throw it down, you either get the foul or you make the basket.
Of those free throws, Plaisted 3 of 8. Misses that one. Get your complete Mountain West recap every Saturday night on the Mountain Cap. Join Courtney George and Marius Payton for all the scores, highlights, and analysis from the Mountain West Conference and beyond. The Mountain Cap, Saturday at 10 on the Mountain. Number 2 for Plaisted. No good. Rebound to Spencer.
42% for BYU from the free throw line in this game. That's the difference in this ball game. They're shooting it well from the field. If they're knocking down free throws, the game's not close right now. Wyoming's staying in it by battling, playing tough, and putting BYU in the line. They haven't been able to convert.
Nelson surprised to be that open from the elbow. Misses his shot. He's got 4 on the night. He won't be 6 right now. Kamar drives baseline to Young. Nelson gets a piece of him. Back-to-back trips. Nelson sends Cougars to the line. And after making the first 7 free throws of the half, BYU has missed the last 5. But Keena Young steps to the line, 4th in the conference from the stripe heading into this game.
And let's watch Travis Nelson feeling like he got ball on that one. And Keena Young, a solid free throw shooter. He's one you want to see there. 85% on the season from the free throw line for Keena Young.
He's butter on the first one. Keena Young now with 22 points. And 23 points.
Keena Young 5 for 7 from the line now, 9 of 13 from the field to lead BYU with those 23 points.
Ewing across the lane. Thought of it, won't go. The tip, keeping it alive. Big Travis Nelson into the hands of Spencer.
Did a nice job. He didn't climb over the back. He kept his distance, used his big frame to reach out and tip that away from Trent Plaisted.
23 points now for Spencer to match the game high. Tied with Young. Jones and Spencer combined 39. The rest of the team 18. Ewing, the leading scorer in the conference, with only 3 in place. That's one-hander, won't go. Spencer goes to the other end. Won't fall. Hanging on the rim is Jones. BYU comes up with it. A technical foul is going to be called on Brad Jones, and he can't believe it.
And the rule is, if you're up on the rim and you have somebody underneath you and you need to grab onto that rim to protect yourself, they'll usually let you get away with it. Let's see if that's the case. The missed slam by that time, Nelson contesting his shot. Now let's watch. Does Jones need to do this to protect himself? He goes up. I don't know. I don't know. The officials didn't feel like there was anybody underneath. Keena Young misses the technical free throw. Take a look. Does Jones need to hang there to protect himself and let people clear? That's the question. And Keena Young makes the second of 2 technical free throws.
So now with a 4-point lead and the ball after the technical foul.
And lost in all that was a great defensive effort by Lee Kumar in the defense. Spencer going down. Kumar did a great job of not fouling and getting a hand in front of that layup attempt by Spencer.
Spencer got Young before the shot. That's 3 fouls now on James Spencer. And Young back to the stripe.
And Keena, you watch him when he's releasing it. He's leaning over to his left and falling. Typically, when Keena Young's feeling it from the free throw line, it's straight up, and he's a rock on that free throw line. You watch him now. See if he drifts after the free throw.
He drifted there, and so did the ball, but right into the hands of Plaisted. Here's Austin Ainge, out to Mike Rose, down to Kamar. 3 ball, corner pocket, book it. Lee Kamar, 3 of 3 against UNLV, had hit 9 shots straight in the previous 3 games. 3 of 4 today.
That was just an official's time. They wanted to talk and discuss something, and the officials came and concurred on something. They brought the players back on. The coaches were thinking it was an official's timeout. Boy, watch Steve McLean work the officials. There's not a more intense coach in this conference. He gets after it. If his players would play every minute of every game with the intensity that he has, they would not lose a basketball game. He is one intense coach.
Brad Jones probably got a stinger there in the shoulder. Ran into him on the court, no left. He was out on the court.
I love Steve McLean's passion.
Spencer underneath. Back out to Jones. 10 on the shot clock. There's Platt. 4 to shoot. Platt from the corner. His 3 won't go. Nelson underneath, off his hands. BYU ball. A 7-point lead for the Cougars. They'll try to add to it. 4:16 left to go in this game. Austin Ainge with a big push off of Ewing, but no whistle. You see that?
Yeah, Ewing backed up and looked over the officials, and that Ainge got away with one on that one.
Oh, pop in the step of the Cougars right now. Little bounce for Keena Young. 4 fouls now on James Spencer. He fouls Young. There will be 2 more tries at the line with for Keena Young with 24 points.
And that's just such a tough matchup for James Spencer. Spencer at 6'4", and he's trying to man up and play man-to-man defense on Keena Young. Keena Young 6'6", but Keena Young well, as everybody knows, plays much bigger than 6'6". He shoots it over the top of 6'8" guys, and so that's a tough one for Spencer. And they can't afford to lose him to fouls in this one because he has been the consistency offensively for Wyoming in this ball game. Well, again, Keena, he made that first free throw. He just didn't look comfortable finishing that time.
But he hits them both. 26 points now. For Keena Young scored 29. The first time against Wyoming in Provo for the Cougars. An 89-81 victory on January 16th. Round 2 has BYU up as we go under 4 minutes to play. A 9-point lead. Platt down to Jones. Nice feed to Ewing. Nice little lay-in. Jones to Ewing. Steve McLean is trying to call a timeout, and he looks like one of the Cowboy cheerleaders. He was jumping so high. Man, he is intense.
The officials finally saw it over on the other side and gave him the timeout, and he did call it before BYU had possession. Gets his guys to the bench. What a nice off-the-ball move by Ewing that time. He was away from the basketball, found the spot down low, and got those hands waving, call for the ball, and then his compadre out on the front line, or in that backcourt, Brad Jones found him for the layup.
There's Mike Rose, our Subway super sub of the game. He was big off the bench against UNLV. 4 of 6 from 3 range tonight.
Well, and he's a separator for BYU. He comes in when games are tight, and he all of a sudden can knock down a couple of threes, and boom, BYU's on a run. He did it again in this game tonight. When he came into the UNLV game the other day, he knocked down 5 straight threes and extended BYU's lead. In this one, it was a tight ball game, and he's the one that came off the bench, gave him a spark offensively, and got BYU their first lead in this ball game.
He has the ball now to Kamar. Underneath the Young, it's just too easy for Keena Young. Lays it in. 28 points tonight for the senior out of Beaumont, Texas. There's Ewing. Works on Kamar. Fouled and won't go. Having a tough time getting it to drop into the bucket. Brandon Ewing, but he will go to the line and shoot 2. Well, Keena Young, Beaumont, down near the Gulf. I'm a long, tall Texan. I wear a 10-gallon hat. Sing it with me now. Come on, Blaine. Eat fresh. 1943, they played ball on what they call the half acre now, but back in 1943, it was called Hell's Half Acre. 1944, there was no basketball here at the University of Wyoming due to World War II.
You see Ewing's numbers on the season, solid free throw shooter. And with the game that Ewing and Jones play out front, they've got to be good free throw shooters to be effective, because they will take it in and draw fouls. So good at that. And then if they go to the line, they're going to knock them down for you.
Ewing 3 of 4 from the stripe tonight. He's been to the line 119 times now this season. McLean wanted the ball to go to the pokes, but it'll stay with BYU.
So after in the timeout, Steve McLean gets that full court trap set up, that zone trap defense to give BYU some troubles. They've got to create some turnovers to chip into this lead for BYU.
And only 4 seconds to get it over the timeline. 29 on the shot clock.
And Austin Ainge is going to go over and ask, now, how much time? He's asking. He just said, do we get 10 more, or is there just 4 seconds left? And so he clarified that. Wyoming going to give the token pressure and then clear out.
Ball swatted by Okoye. Haven't seen much of him here in the second half. Back in on Playstead. Down underneath now on Young. Ainge will drive. 11 on the shot clock. Ball too long for Young. A turnover. Here goes Jones. He'll take it to the hole. Foul. Can't get it to go.
Let's take a look here. The Wyoming fans are saying, hey, this was up above the rim. See if the ball makes it above the rim.
Might have been off the glass.
And you can't block a shot once it's hit the glass. You can't block the shot. And the officials, the thing that they may have talked about, that ball never made it above the rim, so it never had a chance to be in the rim, but it looked like it hit the glass first before Trent Plaisted got a piece of it.
Jones' first try at the stripe doesn't go. Too strong, so it remains a 7-point lead for BYU. 2:48 to go.
And notice Dave Rose inserts Jonathan Tavernari into the game. Trent Plaisted going to sit down on the bench now on this offensive set. Tavernari, a much better free throw shooter in the game. Wyoming fouls. He's a guy that can knock down a free throw for you.
Jones 1 of 2, 17 points. Too strong. Come on. Offensive foul. Flouls over Okoye. Wyoming ball trailing by 6.
And how about Ike Okoye in this basketball game? Getting extended minutes with a short-handed Wyoming team. He's making all the little plays down there, taking the charge. He's rebounded the basketball well. He's got 8 rebounds in this basketball game.
Ewing, Platt, Dermody, Okoye, Jones with the ball. The poke's on the floor, and one more acrobatic trip to the hole. 2 more points for Brad Jones, 19 on the night. The lead is cut to 4. BYU on top.
Take a look again. They clear out that side of the floor. They bring their big man up high, and that leaves no big man help down low. Brad Jones taking it all the way to the basket and muscling it up on the glass. Steve McLean immediately with a timeout. That allows him to set that full court press again.
Tomorrow, Joe Granville. Folks should have a big one. We got a new class of recruits heading to the Mountain West. The Mountain has your first look at the next generation of stars. Read that name for me. What is that?
James Bates.
Okay, and Tim Neverett. Cover all this week's football signing day commitments with the recruiting roundup Thursday at 9 right here on the Mountain. Thursday night at 9. You don't want to miss that one. Get to check out all the new faces that will be playing on the gridiron for years to come. BYU, supposedly a heck of a recruiting class. They're calling it the best in the league. We'll find out tomorrow when it's all official.
And Wyoming, they've clawed back in this thing, making plays on the defensive end. They took a charge. They had a steal. If they're going to win this thing, it's going to be won right here on the defensive end of the floor.
There's Young on Okoye. 28 points for Young. Falls to the floor that time. Whistle. Foul coming up on Ike Okoye.
Hey, and what a presence. A presence of mind by Keena Young. As he started to trip, he put the ball on the floor. He dribbled it on the floor, so they didn't get a travel call when he picked up that pivot foot. That was a heads-up play by Keena Young, and they tipped it back out to the perimeter to Austin Ains, who's at the free throw line now. Well, and BYU continues to have woes at the free throw line. Ains, a 73% free throw shooter.
And Austin Ains, who had 13 points in the first game against Wyoming, now has 1. We've had 7 ties, 12 lead changes in this one. Right now, it's a 5-point ball game. BYU, the #1 team in the Mountain West Conference, tied with Air Force, leading the Wyoming Cowboys. Brad Jones, ball is hit. Okoye saves it. Back to Jones. Won't go. Dermody tries it. Won't fall. Okoye comes back up with it, but he's on the baseline. BYU ball.
Well, and how about Dermody and Okoye keeping that thing alive down low? They've been active all day on the offensive glass for these Cowboys. And what about Lee Camard out there? That's the second time in this game he's chased after a three-point shot and gotten a piece, and he got a clean piece of that three-point attempt by Jones from the corner.
Not bad in the turnover margin for both teams, 10 and 9. Brandon Ewing runs it to the official.
Well, and Dave Rose wants a quick timeout here to talk about BYU's offensive set down here. An important one for BYU, an important one for Wyoming. They got to make a play here defensively.
Lane, safe to say, whatever comes out of this game, Ike Okoye and Travis Nelson have grown up in a big way, along with Benny Sangondo tonight, against some of the best big men in the Mountain West Conference.
Well, and Okoye, just a sophomore, Travis Nelson, a redshirt freshman. You hate to have him get minutes this way where you're shorthanded, but it's been very, very good. And down the stretch here, their depth will definitely pay off.
As we take a look at the remaining schedule for these Pokes, Steve McLean and the Cowboys will go to Las Vegas on Saturday. All of them on the mountain. Then they've got 2 at home. San Diego State and Brandon Heath come to town. Right now, 1-2 in scoring in the Mountain West Conference. Brandon Ewing, number 1, coming into tonight. Brandon Heath right behind him, nipping at his heels with 2. Okoye will be called for the foul on Tavernari.
And Tavernari traditionally has been a good free throw shooter. He has not been to the line a lot on the season, and so, but Dave Rose has him in there because he's a solid free throw shooter. On the offensive end, he can handle the ball out front. Trent Plaisted on the bench.
Jonathan 0 for 1 from the floor tonight. So 1 point for Tavernari, the freshman.
Tavernari, a true freshman, just 19 years old. What a confident young player he has been for Dave Rose. He's given this BYU team some great minutes off the bench on this season.
Great minutes against.
You see his season free throw. He's only been to the free throw line. This is his 8th attempt on the year. He hasn't been there much, but in high school he's a very solid free throw shooter. Now he'll go to the bench, and Trent Plaisted will come in on the defensive end.
Tavernari makes that trip count. 2 for 2.
He did his job. That's exactly what he came in the ball game to do, to handle the ball and make free throws.
So here's Ewing, straight to the hoop, into the face of Plaisted, and fouled by the big man as he goes up, and Brandon Ewing on his knee. 4th foul for the sophomore out of San Antonio, Trent Plaisted, and Ewing still slow getting up.
But, and if you're BYU, this is the last thing you want. You don't want a solid free throw shooter on the line, making points to cut into your lead without the clock running. Trent Plaisted with the foul. And it's just dead silent in here. Somebody just yelled out something to Ewing, and you could hear it just audibly.
Actually, I think it was somebody cussing you.
Boy. And for Brandon Ewing, that was a huge free throw. He has been just rock solid, 81% from the line on the season.
Brandon Ewing struggled tonight. He struggled against New Mexico. Then a big wrestling match broke out down in the pit against the Lobos. All the suspensions coming from that game. Ewing and Jones will both sit out again when New Mexico comes to Laramie to end the season, as will Joseph Taylor, whatever comes of his indefinite suspension. 1 of 2 for Ewing on that trip. Plaisted is out.
They've got Tavernari back in the game.
1 minute remaining.
Under 1 minute now. 6-point lead for BYU. Dribble it around, and Jones finally gets to the arm of Tavernari. Tavernari, who hit 2 of 2 last trip to the line. Last time down, will go back to the strike.
And if you're going to foul, you would think you want to play solid defense in the backcourt, and if you don't get a steal in the backcourt, you get into the front court. Don't let the shot clock go all the way down to 9 before you foul. Every tick is precious at this point. And I know the plan was they want to put the most inexperienced guy on the line in Tavernari, but you can't wait that long for the ball to get in his hands to foul.
Tavernari big against the Utes to break a streak. Utah had beaten BYU in Salt Lake City here at the Huntsman Center every year since 1994. BYU won it a couple weeks ago, though.
And Tavernari, again, doing his job. He's made 4 straight now, and you got to have that if you're going to close out a game where you're ahead. You got to make free throws, and Dave Rose makes the switch again. Tavernari back to the bench on defense. Trent Plaisted back out to play defense.
51 seconds left to go in this one tonight. After the game, catch an all-new episode of Around the Mountain, covering the hottest issues and headline stories in college sports with heated debate and no-holds-barred opinions. Around the Mountain coming up next. right here on the mountain. Stay tuned for that one. BYU, the last 4 games. There's Air Force, number 13 at the time, UNLV, 25th in the nation. And 2 big road wins. Go to the Pit, place where they've had a lot of success. Dave Rose has had a pretty good run down in Albuquerque.
Those are tough places to play. The Pit in Albuquerque is a tough place to play. The Arena Auditorium here in Wyoming is a tough, tough place to play.
Trent Playstead just picked up his 5th foul. So no more rotation. Playstead to Tavernari as Trent Playstead has fouled out of this one with 43.5 seconds to go.
And for Wyoming, they're getting what they want. They're on the free throw line, but they've been trading 2 made free throws for BYU on one end, and then 1 free throw made both times down the floor for Wyoming on the other. And that's not doing them any good. That's extending the lead rather than closing it. Brad Jones has got to knock down these 2 free throws. Trent Playstead fouled out. 13 points for Trent Playstead.
7 rebounds. And it's Brad Jones. He'll shoot 2 at the line. His Pokes trailing by 8. Hits his first one. Now a 7-point lead.
Look at him tonight. 10 of 11.
And he hits them both. Brad Jones averaging more minutes per game than anyone in the Mountain West Conference. And here comes the defense again. They send Tavernari to the line, and that's just who you want if you're wearing the Cougar blue. Mike Rose waves him on down, said, come on, let's hit 2 more. 4 of 4 for the freshman. From the stripe tonight, Tavernari for Dave Rose.
And this time for Wyoming, the strategy not to try to steal ball in the backcourt. Time's getting too precious now. Down under 45 seconds, they foul immediately when it gets into Tavernari's hands in the backcourt. Five straight now for Jonathan Tavernari from the line.
Five straight and 5 points in this one here tonight for JT. Make it 6 of 6 for 6 points on the game. Here's Ewing. Up top will drive lane on Kamard. This finger roll won't go. Rebound to Keena Young. And the 4th best free throw shooter in the Mountain West Conference, who has struggled from the line tonight, will shoot 2 more. So Steve McLean will talk it over with his guys. An interesting approach. The majority of timeouts, Steve McLean will meet with his assistant coaches for a good 75% of each timeout, and then we'll go talk it over with his guys.
And this is a staff. Steve McLean has a lot of trust in that staff, and everybody has input. And then as they consult one with another, he goes and then takes that plan, the plan they put together as a coaching staff to the team.
Austin, you take 5.
Boy, and Keena Young, he smiles after that one. Just everything seems a little off balance.
Smiles on that BYU bench. Lead, 31 seconds to go. A lot of ball to be played, though. And Young, 1 of 2 for that trip. 9 points, the lead for BYU. There's Ewing to Spencer. Spencer has 23 on the night. And Platt. Platt behind the arc. He hits a big 3.
Well, Steve McLean immediately gets a timeout. Eric Platt, a true freshman. It's a Wyoming Gatorade Player of the Year last year, first-team All-Stater. We see this is at the timeout. You're going to get together, talk it through with the assistants, put a plan together. Let's take a look at this last play. Patient by Wyoming. Platt off the dribble with a crossover, pulls up just behind that three-point line and knocks it down.
Well, Platt's still feeling it. The lone bright spot against Air Force with a career high Well, 15 points against TCU, but 13 at the Academy. Glad to have you with us on the mountain. James Bates, Blaine Fowler. Producer tonight, Doug Marino. Director, Mike Helling. Timeouts remaining. None for the Pokes. One full for BYU. There's Joseph Taylor. Big man down there with the braids, patting the back of his head. Suspended indefinitely. Put a high top to the chest of Jamal Smith in that ugly brawl in the pit. And Steve McLean said, I'll decide when he comes back out on the floor. But that's a guy, whether he's blocking shots or throwing down some high-powered dunks, can bring some excitement to this team. Well, but Coach McLean wants him to get his act together before he sees the hardwood.
So athletic. And I like McLean's, he says, hey, we've got a plan for him behind the scenes. And when he's to where we think he needs to be, we'll bring him off suspension. But he's going to, it's indefinite. He's not giving a time frame to it.
Ball stripped away from Keena Young. Kamard comes up with it, ends up on the floor. He's fouled by Dermody. And Lee Kamard will go to the line. Kamard, an 81% free throw shooter.
At the Keena line, shooting 2, Lee Kamard.
Boy, and BYU shooting woes from the free throw line continue. This is a game that they should have put away a long time ago, except for they've struggled from the line.
6-point game, make it a 7-point game. Near 10 seconds, go under 10 now. Brandon Ewing with the ball, launches a 3 in front of Keena Young. It's short. Ike Okoye comes up with it. And Eric Platt will try a 3, and as time expires, he hits a 3, but too little, too late. And buddies, Dave Rose, Steve McLean will shake hands, and it's Dave Rose who will leave here victorious. That's 3 straight big wins on the road for BYU. Keena Young, 29 points, tying a career high. He also had 29 the first meeting against these Wyoming Cowboys in Provo. He is your tough shed, tough man of the game. Big Keena Young getting it done underneath. And from long range, does a great job facing up tonight. 29 points, 6 rebounds. The senior from Beaumont, Texas. Your tough shed, tough man of the game. So next up for BYU, they'll take it to TCU, but first let's check in with Blaine. He's got Coach Rose.
Fans, thank you for your attendance at tonight's game. The Cowboys' next home game is Saturday, February 17th, as they host San Diego State.
We apologize for our audio difficulties. But Dave Rose and the BYU Cougars will take it back to Provo victorious. 3 straight road wins in the Mountain West Conference. They've won 5 in a row, a 4-point victory. Our final, BYU 77, Wyoming 73. Our next telecast is tomorrow night as the Rams of CSU head to Utah for a showdown with the Utes at 7 o'clock right here on the mountain. For Blaine Fowler and our entire mountain crew, I'm James Bates. Stay tuned for Around the Mountain coming at you next. This has been a production of The Mountain. So long from Laramie. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you next time.
The Mountain